0 today. Is that right, Dan? He's up there live streaming, but it was going to be cold, so we're blessed right where we are. So this morning, I have chosen this topic to honor Scott because I felt like he was a breath of fresh air wherever he went. And we know so many people that are like that. But first, one bitter cold Sunday, an old farmer trudged for miles through a blizzard to reach the small mountain church that he attended. No one else showed up except the preacher. So the preacher says, he looks at the empty pews and he leaned over the pulpit and suggested to his lone congregant that it was hardly seemed worth proceeding with the service with such a low turnout. Perhaps we'd do better if we returned to our nice warm houses and had a hot drink, he said. That was encouraging the lone congregant, maybe we ought to go home. Well, the old farmer looked at the preacher and he said, I'm just a simple farmer, but when I go to feed my herd, if only one cow shows up, I sure don't let her go hungry. So the preacher felt a little embarrassed and maybe a little guilty. So he conducted the entire service. The hymns, the readings, the announcements, and a full sermon. He gave him the whole dose. It lasted way over an hour. So after the service, he said to the farmer, I hope that met your needs. And the farmer said, I'm just a simple farmer, but when I go to feed my herd, if only one cow shows up, I sure don't force her to eat everything I brought for the whole lot of them. I feel like that a lot of Sundays. I get up here and I'm just so excited and so enthusiastic. I want to tell you everything, and I can hardly quit. But the truth is, and here is the truth, here at Unity, we do have one message, don't we? We give you a little bit different variations of it every Sunday, but we do give you one message. And I'll just remind you of that before I go on. And that is that there is one power in the universe. We call that power God, Spirit, the divine. And number 2, we're each a ray of that divine Spirit. You can think of it any way you want to. I think of myself as being an instrument of the divine. I am divinely directed. I am an instrument, and you are too. And you are, whether you know it or not. That's the thing. You definitely are a ray of the divine. And we are so much better off when we keep our thoughts positive, so we think positively. We've learned that. And we know that we connect more and more easily. The more we connect and go within in prayer or meditation, whatever you call that, you find your connection more easily. And it's not enough to know all that. You must also walk the talk. So when we go out into the world, we hope that others will say of us, there's an instrument of the divine right there. Right there. Now I know that these times have been challenging, and sometimes it's more difficult to be a breath of fresh air, isn't it? But the more I thought about it, Friday when it rained for that graveside service, and I felt like I needed to give us a bit more and wanted to do that this morning, and that's what Scott reminded me of. Let's be a breath of fresh air, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter the ups and downs. that are going on for you. And he certainly did that. Now, we know that we've all met people who bring extra sunshine into the room when they walk in. We know that, don't we? You just feel like there comes a ray of sunshine, and you're just so happy to be with them. There's a lightness and an energy about them that's almost contagious. And we need that right now. We need light and love to be more contagious than that old pandemic out there. We're about tired of that, aren't we? Yes. And we're about to turn a corner and go on with our lives. We've already turned that corner. So almost everyone wants to hang out with that person that's a breath of fresh air. That's okay. If you're not ready to do that, the time will come. If the thought has come to you that you'd like to be a breath of fresh air, you just don't know how to do it yet, set that intention, and you will. At least the thought has come to you that you do want to change, and you do want to be different. And Scott Lewis was always that. Whether he was at a party, here, with friends eating lunch, playing his music, he was always the light-hearted one that walked in the door to be a breath of fresh air. And we thank him for that. We thank him for his example. So today, I hope what I say leaves you feeling a little bit better. And then you can go out and make someone else's life a little sunnier. Joy Marino said, "You are a breath of fresh air in a world that is so suffocating right now." It is, isn't it? There's been a lot going on this past year, and we want to get beyond that, and each one of us can. So I'm going to share with you this morning a few ways that maybe you can do that and leave much of the heaviness and the suffering behind and become mindful. We don't want to get caught up in that energy. You know how it feels to be in a group and it's just so heavy and sad and downhearted. And you just want to get away from that, don't you? So let's talk about some of the ways that we can. Some things for you to consider. One of the things you might consider is, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And I think about this sometimes because, you know, as I do memorial services, I officiate at those, and I do officiate at graveside services. And I have the honor and the privilege of saying the last words over this person's life. And I know how important it is when family will tell me so many wonderful things about their loved one, what they did in the world, and just how important that is. So it makes me want to ask you this morning, who do you want to be? What would you like to be said about you? What would you like to be said about you at a memorial service for you? What would you like to be said? He was the meanest guy in the room. She was the stingiest person I ever met. If you wanted to hear gossip, all you had to do was go to her or him. Or, my goodness, that was one vengeful dude. If you ever did anything to him, you better watch your back. Are those things you'd like to have said about you? That was the most depressing person I ever knew or wanted to be around, or the most downhearted. That was the hardest person to be with. Now, we would never say that at someone's memorial service, but you know, it does give you pause. It makes you want to think, what would I like to have people say about me I'd like for them to say she was very truthful. She was always looking for facts, not innuendo, not insinuations, not some facts out there that someone has just blurted out and there's no truth behind. She's a person that wanted facts so that she could know that was truth, and then she could get behind that. She was a person that was always looking for a middle way so that she could get along with everyone. She wasn't wanting to be divisive or create disharmony wherever she went. She was a person that wanted harmony. She wanted people to get along. She wanted peace in the world. That's what I'd like to have said about me. The world was a better place because she lived. And if so, then let's take a moment this morning to think about how we might live our lives in reverse then, or take that desire in reverse, if those are the things that are going to be said about us at our graveside service. What things would I like to be said about me? Who am I? Generous and caring, devoted to peace and harmony. Even when I'm on social media. Did you know that counts too? A lot of people don't seem to think so. We can always be a breath of fresh air. And we know there are ups and downs in our lives. We know that. Everyone has bumps in the road. That's life. But we concentrate on the good, even when there are difficult things in our lives. As a matter of fact, when there is something difficult, you can get to feel so much better if you'll do something good for another. Put that worry aside and go do some good. You'll be so much better. So let's put all that heaviness aside. Look for the good. Look for God. If you're around a lot of downers, complainers, naysayers, they never make you laugh. They only want a lot of doom and gloom. You need to reconsider your circumstances. And that's all I'll say about that. You need to reconsider. I think that learning to value how I feel more than trying to control the outside world is a good thing to do. Control how I feel instead of controlling the outside world. If enough of us love and bring light to the world, we're going to bring so much joy and peace to others and harmony. Harmony. So let those thoughts of resistance go. Be like a duck and let stuff roll off your back. Can you do that? Just let it roll on off. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Someone says something hurtful. Just say to yourself, honey, it's all good. I know you're hurting. I'm sorry. I have compassion for that. You probably have something horrible going on in your life. I forgive you. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you off the hook. We're going to both be at peace because I'm claiming it right here, right now. Go take care of you. I'm good. It's all good. Be unaffected. That's how you take a breath of fresh air. Look for what you want to see in your life. A lot of us are walking around looking for things to be upset about. This is wrong, that's wrong, that turned out the wrong way. Please let that go. Please, please, I'm asking you right now. I don't care what it is, who you are, that you are thinking turned out the wrong way. It didn't. It's reality. It's what is. Now, please, you're going to be a lot better off if you let it go. Let it go. Be at peace. Bring peace, love, and light to the world. You can heal yourself. You can heal the world. So what do you want to see out there? You want to see things that weigh heavy on your spirit? You want to become the wet, heavy blanket that you throw on every conversation? No, I don't think so. You want to start looking for beauty and love and joy and kindness and know that all is well. So if you want to be a breath of fresh air when you walk into a room, nowadays Zoom calls, that too. When you walk into your home, look for what you want to see. Look for the kindness in people. Look for the love, the good qualities, and you will begin to draw them to you. And if you're on social media, like all of us are you looking for things to criticize? Please don't. Please don't. Let it go on by. You don't need to comment or to be affected by it. Whatever someone said, let it go on by. Click the button that says, I don't want to see content like this. And click that button in your head, too, that says, I don't want to see content like this, and I'm not going to. There's a lot of ugly stuff out there, and I sure don't want to see it, and I don't want it to affect me. And it's not going to. It doesn't. I don't allow it. You don't have to see everything out there. You're sharing your light. You're like a duck, and you're allowing it to roll on off. If you've said something to someone else where you reacted and now you regret it, please message that person. Tell them you're sorry. Tell them that you were triggered for a moment and you're sorry about that. We can heal the world. We can heal the division in our country. We can heal this. We can heal this. One person at a time, we can heal it. Next tip I'm going to give you is accept reality. Accept what is and quit arguing about it. You're never going to get peace as long as you do that. Spread love, understanding. There's so much fear in the world. I've noticed the polarities that are going on right now. I don't concentrate on it too much. It's a bit troubling, but I'm not going to concentrate on that. I've got too much love and light to share with the world, and that's my job. I'm an instrument of the divine, remember? We talked about that. You remember that? I'm an instrument of the divine. I'm not a troublemaker. I look for goodwill. I look for light and sunshine. And I am not going to allow an old wet, heavy blanket fall on me. Not going to do it. So if you're noticing all those polarities and the divisiveness, hatred, heaviness in the world, arguing, what we need more of is love. Love for all people and all sides. We need to understand. We need to sit down and talk sensibly with people. And again, if your cousin Tom may not be ready to breathe the love and fresh air that you're in, you can still love him from afar. You don't need to be in a room with him and allow him to dampen your mood. You don't. So carry yourself lightly. Air is light. It's fluid. It's effervescent. It's moving. And your emotional state impacts your body language. We know that. You've been around someone that's all slumped over and depressed, and you can see exactly how they're feeling in that moment, can't you? And you can feel that gloomy, dark mood. It fills a room. So if you're determined that you are going to be light and love and you're going to be a breath of fresh air, stand up, take a breath, smile, smile, smile. You can train yourself to smile all the time. I know because I did it. Several years ago, I read about endorphins and how when you smile, those are released. And I decided I'm going to just learn to smile all the time. So wherever I am, I remind myself to have a pleasant look on my face and have my lips turned up just a little bit at the corners and smile. And that's a fact. I've been doing that for several years, and it does help. So hold yourself upright. Carry yourself well. Remind yourself that you are a breath of fresh air and you are an instrument of the light. So doesn't it sound like fun? Doesn't that sound like fun to be a breath of fresh air instead of a wet blanket? What do you think? If you have a choice, and we do, we have a choice every moment. And a joyful heart is good medicine. This is what Scott knew so well. He entered a room with a smile on his face, ready to share joy and laughter all around. Laughter is good for your health. If you surround yourself with people that never make you smile, rethink and re-choose. Laughter releases that chemical called serotonin into our brains. That's the feel-good hormone. It's the effect it has on our feelings. You know that, right? Okay? It has a way we can be part of a group, and it can make us feel more comfortable with others when we're laughing because they feel comfortable with us. That's why it felt so good to be with Scott. And researchers have found that laughter can also help our immune system work better. And this means that we can fight diseases better. I remember reading about a man that was fighting stomach cancer, and so he just turned on, this was years and years ago, he turned on the TV and watched funny programs all day long, and he just laughed and laughed and laughed. And do you know he was healed? So they have found that laughter can help our immune system work better. And lastly, this morning, when I think of Scott and being a breath of fresh air, I think of how he lived his life to the fullest. He brought sunshine to a cloudy day. I think there's a song like that. I have sunshine on a cloudy day. Oh my. He was God's instrument of peace, love, pardon, faith, hope, light, and joy right here on this earth. And as St. Francis instructs us, O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we're pardoned. It is in dying to self that we're born to eternal life. So, my friends, I ask you this morning that we live our lives as steadfastly as our friend Scott did. Spread love, joy, and light. Make the world a better place. Go in joy and peace. And I thank you for your time.